Hello and welcome to the BA Zone Live. My name is Kathleen Sennett and I'm here as your host this evening. Eric could not be here, so we are going to dive in and talk about the 5 common questions that people ask about being a business analyst. Not that there aren't thousands of questions, but these are the 5 that come up most often, and we thought that we would share our answers with you because we're sure you're getting asked those questions too. So let's get the show started and we will dive right in. Should remove my name first. There we go. All right, so hello and thanks for being here. So we're going to talk tonight about the 5 questions that we get asked most often about being a business analyst. Now, yes, there are thousands and thousands of questions, but these are the ones that we hear most often from people, specifically the people who, well, I was going to say the people who don't work with us, but actually that's not the case because a lot of times these are the people we work with, or people that we have just started working with. That's very common. I'm just trying to get things to cooperate here, and they're not, so we're going to force them to cooperate because that's what we do. Okay, we'll just shut that down. So we're going to go through these real quick. I don't know. I've got slides. That's what I'm trying to open up for you. And for some reason the slides froze. So give me one sec while I open them up again. Because, hey, that's what you want to do after you start the show. So while we're getting things ready here, I'm just curious if you have any questions that you get asked a lot. Actually, it would be fun if you would pop them in right now because then we can compare our lists. Not everybody, I guess, is going to have exactly the same ones, but I have a sneaking suspicion that most of us are going to have very similar lists. All right. Good. Here we go. We'll get there. And we need this one. Ta-da! Okay. See, sooner or later we win. This is what life as a business analyst is. It is flying by the seat of our pants. Maybe that should be the first answer. Nah. Hello, Giovanni over in Periscope. Thanks for coming in. We're going to talk tonight about the 5 questions people ask most often about being a business analyst. If you have your own favorite questions, go ahead and throw them into the comments. I do have Periscope up, and I also have Facebook and YouTube. And hopefully, actually, let me double check because I'm just realizing I didn't even get the Facebook comment that I saw before coming through. And so maybe it's not working again. I did hear earlier today that people were having problems with Facebook comments, so I will flip around and I will make sure that I stay up to date on them as best I can. Hey John, thanks for coming by. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get this party started. All right, so the very first question. The very first question that most people ask, let's see if this works. It kind of works. Should probably move it over. The very first question most people ask is, what do you do, right? And not in a, hey, what's your job title thing. This is usually the question that comes after you give somebody your job title. I'm going to move me over here. Whoop. There we go. Right? I mean, I'm really sure a lot of you get this one out there because it's the kind of thing that when we're in a group, we all kind of give each other that, quick sly eye kind of laugh moment because it's not an easy question. And people think it should be an easy question to answer, but it's not. Because being a business analyst means that you work through every step of the product life cycle. Now, a lot of people think that terminology only applies to us folks who are in software development, but that's not the case. Whatever it is, whatever project you're working on as a business analyst has a life cycle. And because of what we do, we're involved in it from soups to nuts to A to Z, A to Z, however you like to say these things. So depending on where the other people are in the process, their perception of what your job is will vary greatly, right? Because the people who are at the beginning of the process, right, the requirements gathering, or maybe even the first level sanity check, whether or not there should be a project, those people have a very distinct view of you as an information collector, right? But then as you move along into the problem-solving phase and you start to deal with those people, which may or may not overlap with the first group, they're going to see you as a problem solver, as an idea generator, right? And then as you move it along to the requirements definition process, right, which is a little bit different from requirements gathering because now you're getting into the weeds, right? So if it's an existing project, maybe some people see you as sort of a project archaeologist, right, where you're digging into an existing product because either there's no documentation. How often does that happen to us? All the time. Or you're the one that is crafting the new plan, right? And you're mapping everything out. So I'm not going to go through each stage. We've done that in other shows, but that's why this is a tough question to answer. So what I do, and what Mayor tends to do too, is answer the question from the point of view of the person who is asking. And if you don't know, like if somebody just comes up to you, in the hallway or at the water cooler or in an elevator and asks you, it's okay to giggle and say, well, that's not an easy answer. Could I ask why you're asking, or what's your job? So that you can better define your answer, because nobody wants to listen to the 800 million things that we do. So this way you can define your answer a little bit better. But the short answer, if you're going to give just a generic answer to anybody and everybody that's involved, is that the business analyst is required for identifying and finding solutions, proposing those, and then documenting the one that the team decides to move forward on. That, for me, is the shortest definition I've ever been able to come up with, and even that, frankly, is a little long, but it still works as an elevator speech. So feel free to use whatever parts of that you find helpful. Let's keep going. Actually, I know what, I'm going to just make a point of, after everyone, I'm going to just flip through, just because it seems like my tool is not quite working right. Which is how things go, right? Business analysts are flexible creatures, if nothing else. Alrighty, so the next question usually comes up from people that we're working with on a project, or if somebody just happens to hear out in the wild that we're a business analyst and maybe they're thinking about it. This comes up a lot, right? Do I need to be able to code, design, be a specialist in the domain? There's lots of variations of this, but they're all about, what the level is you need to be at. And the answer to all of this is no, but, right? So I know no buts are not people's favorite answers, but this is one that really needs it, because while you do not need to be able to code or design or be a subject matter expert, anything that you can bring to the table as part of your skill set is a bonus. So if you are working in software development, yeah, it does kind of help if you've had some exposure to code. Now, whether that means you've actually done code, or maybe you can just read code, or you're familiar with the basic, principles of it, it's a sliding scale. But as a flat answer, the answer is always no, because we are people who collect information. We learn quickly. We are able to talk to people in different roles and get the information that we need, or share the information that they need. So it's not absolutely critical, but absolutely it's a benefit if you've got it. And as far as being a subject matter expert, that's the easier one, because again, yes, of course, it's a bonus if you know something about the subject, but we work with subject matter experts. That's usually covered by the company that we're going to be working for, whether you're a consultant or you're a full-time employee. They already have people who know their business. They want us to come in and help them untangle the knots. So yes, it's great if you know a little bit about the subject, but you should always let your subject matter experts be the subject matter experts, because that's their thing. Let them do it. And also, because they are subject matter experts, they are 100% focused or 80% focused on that topic. And we're never given that luxury, right? Because we've got so many different things we need to do, right? We've got a lot of balls in the air at any given time. So it's really good to let subject matter experts be your subject matter experts, be really good friends with them, respect their time, work well with them, and then they will always be the great resource you need, so that you can keep, some section of your brain clean for new information. So, do you need to be able to do these things? No. Not necessarily, but is it helpful? Absolutely. So it's up to you at which point you want to go ahead and get familiar with one of those. Obviously, if you're not going to work in software development, code doesn't matter, so don't waste your time. If you're not going to be designing user interfaces, then maybe you don't need to learn, the UI principles that are out there. But whatever it is that you're going to be working on, it doesn't hurt to get up to speed and get to a certain level of expertise as quickly as possible, because that will then allow your brain the space to look for the other questions, because those basic ones will already be covered for you. Does that make sense? Hopefully. All right, let me just do a quick check here while we deal with the fact that our tool is definitely not working. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. That's always a nice thing to see. Okay, yes. All right, so we're rolling along. And like I said, if you have any of your own favorite questions that come up, feel free to throw them in. We can talk about those too. I just brought our 5 favorite because that was my job tonight. All right, let's keep going. Back to the desktop. Okay, so do I need a certification to be a business analyst? Again, all right, going to leave me off of this one. This one comes up a lot. This one comes up again also from people who are looking to be BAs or maybe new BAs. Also, sometimes it comes up during the interview process, right? Because sometimes people have trouble understanding what it is we do. So they're looking for something to hold on to, and certifications feels like a nice, soft, warm, fuzzy blanket for them. If you are anybody who's been around here for a while, you probably already know our answer to that, and the answer is no. It's fine if you want to go and get certifications later in your career, if you feel like it's going to boost your standing a little bit. You have to judge these things by your locale and the areas that you're going for jobs in. But across the board, anybody who is new to this, has no real experience in it, has no real time on the job, has no practical hands-on experience, certifications, frankly, is a waste of time and money. This does not make us popular with the people who sell certification programs. I won't kid you. We take some heat for this one, but we do firmly believe it because we hate to see people wasting time and money, right? These are two things in life that are very hard to get. And until you have some experience working in this job and doing this job, all the certification says is that you took a course and you paid for it. It does not mean at all that you know what you're doing or how to do it. And companies that hire based on that, you want to look at closely. Now, this is another conversation we've had many times, but when you're going for job interviews, remember, it's not just them interviewing you, you're also interviewing them. We have found that companies that right away are pushing for certifications are generally not companies we end up wanting to work for, and we've both learned that the hard way because they don't really understand what it is we do. So that's just a little benefit, a little freebie thrown in on top here. So the answer to the question is absolutely not. You don't need a certification. If later in your career you want to go get one, go for it. Have a good time. It's totally fine once you have the goods to back it up. Make sense? Let me just check in with my buddies here. Yes, okay. I'm seeing some laughing out there. Yes, we do take heat for this, we do. But we don't like, we try to, so our whole goal here has been from day one to be real with you folks, right? We do this for a living. You're either doing it for a living or looking to do it for a living. And so we're not here to sugarcoat. We're not here to, make everybody happy. We're here to tell you what works in the real world today. And so, yes, we occasionally say things that other people don't like, and we're okay with that. You can't please everybody, okay? We're telling you what it is. We have both been doing this job a very long time, very successfully, and we're proud of that. And so we want to share those experiences with you because sometimes it's hard, especially if you're out there and you're a solo or you're new or you just haven't had the opportunity to work on a lot of projects yet. You may not feel confident enough to say, okay, I thought that, but I wasn't really sure about it. So that's why we say these things, because we are sure of it. After all this time of working with all kinds of different people on all kinds of different projects, the patterns are very clear. And certification without experience is pointless. So, okay. End rant, I promise. This is the next one. So generally this is the people who you're starting to work with or people that you have given the initial explanation of what a business analyst is. Those are the folks that usually come up with this one then. So they're like, oh, okay, we understand. You create documents. It's like, no, because what they're kind of implying here is that, you're a note taker and you just make the notes look pretty and then you share them with everybody. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but a real business analyst. Okay, now there's a lot of people out there using the title that aren't really doing the job. Okay, we've talked about that too. But if you are a real business analyst, you are the one that is out there working with the business to identify the opportunities, right, for improvement in the business or to raise the flag on issues or to come up, if you come up with an idea on an improvement for an operation or a process or a tool, you're bringing those up, you're documenting what it is now, what the pain points are, suggesting alternatives and presenting what those might look like. You're actually involved in the design or modification of systems or tools or processes. You work with stakeholders and subject matter experts and customers and the internal teams and the external teams and the DBAs, and you work across everything, right? You're going to gather information, but yes, that's a part of it, but then you're going to take that information and you're going to document current day setup. You're going to document where things need to be. You're going to document what the process is to get from A to B. You're going to do the flows, the task flows, the process flows, the user flows, the experience flows, the journey maps, right? You're going to do customer avatars if that's what your type of business needs. You're going to do your the CRUDs and all those other types of grids that people will use for either roles or functionality or that type of thing, or for the cost benefit to doing these kinds of things, the cost savings for doing these kinds of things. You're going to the things that we do go on and on and on. So no, it's not just about creating the documents. The documents are the output, but the work that we do is the entire process and the most important thing that we do, okay? And again, there are people who will disagree with this, and I tell them they're wrong all the time. The most important thing that we create is solutions, right? And it's the important part of our job is not just finding the happy path solution, but finding solutions that also take care of all those branches, right? All of those fringe cases, people like to call them, but they're cases that happen, right? You know, not everybody is going to do things exactly the way you think that they should be done, right? And every role is going to have a little bit of fluidity around it and is going to overlap with other things. So we're the ones who are alert to those things. We keep listening for when those kinds of little issues come up that they're kind of blowing past, and we pull it back and we deal with all of those different combinations. We do a lot of, what if thinking, and all of that, yes, ends up in documents of whatever sort. But the documents are not just a collection of notes from various meetings. They are the result of the information collection, the processing, the planning, and the testing that we do on the ideas. And then we map out what these all need to look like so that when everybody is in the room talking about it, we are all talking about exactly the same thing. Everybody has the same exact picture in their head, which is oh so critical. And making decisions about that as they go along. And then, yes, we go in and we modify the documentation and we talk about, we make sure we catch all of the decisions that are made and the adjustments that are made throughout the process. But the document is output. What we do for a living is far more complicated. And again, I'm going to take a look here, but I'll bet people are laughing. Yes, because people who are out there doing this job know that that is 100%. John says, I'm sorry, John. Yeah, evidently, so my tool is just not working. It's not bringing in anything. I'm so bummed. They're both on. All right, I'll have to research that. But John over on Facebook says, the best answer I ever received from a VA when I asked what he did, he said yes. Yes. Yeah, I get that totally. That is a perfectly good answer because that is what we do. Our job is, yes, we do everything and whatever else falls in between. I mean, let's face it, a lot of us end up doing QA. Some of us end up doing training manuals and or training. So being a business analyst is an umbrella term. No two ways about it. And there's a lot of different things that we do. And frankly, that's the fun part of this because it gives you a chance to do something different every day and to keep your skills up. So yes, thank you, John. That is exactly right. 100%. I am in agreement with that. All right, let's keep going. So the next question, the big last question is, should I become a business analyst? Now this one comes up a lot, right? People find out what you do, you tell them a little bit about it, most of us really enjoy our work and that comes through. So people are like, hey, that sounds great. Can I do that too? The answer is maybe. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It depends. Yes, there are certain things that you need. So, you can always run through the checklist, right? Problem solving skills are critical, analytical skills are critical, communication skills are not negotiable. You have to be detail oriented. You have to be able to write because a lot of times you're going to be working with teams that are around the globe. So you're going to need to make sure you absolutely have to be able to communicate clearly and simply and straightforward with no ambiguity. Because when you're dealing with people who speak other languages as a primary, it's too easy to mislead them inadvertently. So you need to be very, very strong on your writing, your communication skills. It's great if you've got good math skills, if you've got any computer knowledge at all, even if you're not doing software development kind of projects, because you're going to be using a lot of technical tools wherever you are. So having anything like that is good. If you are really strong on not just analytical skills as far as problem solving, but like data, like torrents of data, manipulating data, processing data, understanding. And by the way, manipulating data in a data sense is not a negative. It just means that you're adjusting it so that you're removing the stuff that's distracting, removing the static, and focusing on the useful data. I like to throw that out there. People get confused. So my answer to this one is always, I hope so, right? I would love for more business analysts to be out there. We were just contacted by somebody the other day who just got a gig with the help that we provided in these videos. Did our hearts good. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to do sort of a self-evaluation to understand whether or not you're going to be good at it. People who prefer jobs that have a lot of routine, if you thrive on routine and repetition, this is not the gig for you, because every single day, not only every single day, every single hour working as a business analyst is different. Frankly, some days every minute is different. So you do want to be honest with yourself about whether or not that is a skill for you. The other thing that you need to be honest about is whether or not you like to continue to learn. Not everybody does. I mean, for me, that's what the draw is for this. I like the fact that every single day I learn something new. I love that. If you don't, you may find this too frustrating. If you're not good, this is another thing that really should be on everybody's list. If you're not good at juggling multiple projects, you're going to be challenged in this too, because it's extremely rare that you're only working on one project. Usually you're working on anywhere in the real world, anywhere from 3 to 8. I'm not kidding. And they're going to be at different phases along the way, right? Some will be in the early phases, some will be in the middle, some will be late, some will be at the end, where maybe you're just doing the wrap up and getting ready to start the process over again. So if that is the kind of thing that really stresses you out, this might not be the best career for you. However, if those things don't faze you, if those things sound like great challenges to you, if you love learning and all of this stuff that comes around problem solving, then please come join us. We need more of you, so please come. We really, really need it, okay? So that is a definite yes if you are into all those kinds of things. Okay, so that is it. Let me just check in one more time here. I did say, and there is actually an announcement that I have for you, but in the interest of video processing, I think what I'll do is I will run the show close, but not really end the show, and then at the end of that I will tell you what is going on. So let me just bring that up. And in the meantime, I should also share with you that you can find us in a bunch of places if you want to reach out. You can find us at thebazone.com. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, all the places that you would expect to find us. We are there. So, so just as far as wrapping up this show, I am going to just run the end video, but don't go away because I do have the announcement. I just want to be able to cut it off because I don't think we're going to leave it floating out there. But I did want to tell you what's going on because we like to keep you guys up to date. Okay, so I'm just going to run this for processing afterwards, and then I'll be right back. So just hang on.